Never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man.
Boy, oh boy, do I got a fake apology for you today. Now, I got to tell you, this has got to be one of the fakest and most forced apologies that I've seen in a long time. And it is very clear that he is just trying to save face. And I don't think he means any of it personally. But you'll notice from the fake crying with no tears in sight that I don't think really anyone really believes what he has to say. But before we get into the video, please think about clicking that subscribe button, like, comment, and share this video so we can keep the conversations going. But without further ado, let's check it out.
Something clear because it's important to me as a human, and that is you understand that it was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man. I don't think there's anything funny about it. I posted a message on Instagram on the day he was killed, sending love to his family and asking for compassion, and I meant it, and I still do. Nor was it my intention to blame any specific group for the actions of what it was obviously a deeply disturbed individual. That was really the opposite of the point I was trying to make, but I understand that to some that felt either ill-timed or unclear, or maybe both. And for those who think I did point a finger, I get why you're upset. If the situation was reversed, there's a good chance I'd have felt the same way.
Well, that's because he did point fingers. He specifically called Charlie Kirk shooter MAGA.
I have many friends and family members on the other side who I love and remain close to, even though we don't agree on politics at all. I don't think the murderer who shot Charlie Kirk represents anyone. This was a sick person who believed violence was a solution, and it isn't. Ever. And also, selfishly, I am a person who gets a lot of threats. I get many ugly and scary threats against my life, my wife, my kids, my coworkers because of what I choose to say. And I know those threats don't come from the kind of people on the right who I know and love. So that's what I wanted to say on that subject. But I don't want to make this about me because, and I know this is what people say when they make things about them, but I really don't. This show is not important. What is important is that we get to live in a country that allows us to have a show like this. Yeah. I've had the opportunity to meet and spend time with comedians and talk show hosts from countries like Russia, countries in the Middle East, who tell me they would get thrown in prison for making fun of those in power, and worse than being thrown in prison. They know how lucky we are here. Our freedom to speak is what they admire most about this country. And that's something I'm embarrassed to say I took for granted until they pulled my friend Steven off the air and tried to coerce the affiliates who run our show in the cities that you live in to take my show off the air. That's not legal. That's not American. That is un-American, and it is so dangerous.
So you saw that, and if you're anything like me, you think it's a bunch of BS. And me personally, I don't think that there was any sincerity at all in that apology. But there is one thing that I wanted to touch on. He was talking about basically cancel culture and people trying to influence him getting taken off of the air. And let me start off by saying I am a firm believer in our Constitution and our First Amendment right to free speech. And that's one of the things that I love about America. But I also realize that if I work for a company, let's just say customer service, I work for a customer service industry, I have the right to free speech. I can cuss my customers out left and right all day, every day. But I got to realize that that could ultimately get me fired. And that's exactly what happened to Jimmy Kimmel. He made some jokes about Charlie Kirk after he was just assassinated in front of his wife, 2 daughters, and thousands of people. And the company that writes his check and puts him on the air didn't agree with the statements that he was making or the jokes. And he has to take responsibility for what he said. If he wants to do that, he can go on there and make those jokes on his X or his Twitter and do that on his personal time. But you don't do it on the company's dollar and expect them not to have a standpoint on it. So that's my take. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Do you think it was a sincere apology, or do you think it was a bunch of BS? That's all I got for you today. I'll catch you on the next one.